Go ahead and close your eyes. Allow your shoulders to drop away from your ears. Allow the muscles in your face to droop down. Unclench your jaw. Take a deep breath in. Exhale. Go ahead and open your eyes. Hello and welcome back to Mindful Moves. My name is Dans and I am so happy that you're here again this week. I have been diving into all things nature this month and just everything that relates to it and how we are so connected. And I hope you are enjoying your time in nature and making the time for it and filling up your cup. And something that is vital when speaking about nature and ourselves is cycles. And there's two things I want to speak about here. And starting off, I want it to be so clear that nature has its own cycle. It has its summer months, winter, it flows, it ebbs, it's got this up and down motion, right? And we have this misconception that life is just supposed to be in one direction, and it's supposed to be either really good or everything is really bad, and it's supposed to stay in one or the other. But when we realize how deeply connected to nature we are, we realize that our life mimics this duality as well. We have these ups and these downs, and for the longest time, my personal experience, I felt that I was always constantly chasing and running after the good, and I didn't really give the time and the energy to when my life was in a down cycle and respecting that cycle. And so often we are just chasing. And even when we get to an up in life, we focus so much on it and we're so scared to lose it. And as soon as maybe something shifts, you've let it go. And when you embrace the cycles of life, as nature does, you realize that our lives are built solely on duality. It's built on ups and downs, and the only neutral in that scenario can be yourself. Life is always going to have its things. It's gonna shake you sometimes. It's gonna make it very difficult to get through the day. But there's also gonna be days where you feel joy in your heart and you feel at peace. And what we're trying to cultivate is acceptance. Acceptance that we are nature, and in turn, that means we have cycles in life. And imagine, I don't think you can even, but what it would be like if we just had ups. We wouldn't be able to feel the ups at all, because to feel something is to know what it is also not. So when things are up and down, you're able to feel both in its own duality. So if we had only up times and we never had bad times, we wouldn't even realize that they were up times. They would just be baseline times, and the gratitude you'd have for them wouldn't really exist without having the hard times. You need the hard to make the good feel so good. And you also need the hard times to build characteristics in yourself. Our hardest times on this earth shape who we become. When you came into this world, and let's say you really wanted to be a patient person, I can guarantee you life isn't going to just make everything really dandy. Life may make it challenging and allow you to cultivate this characteristic of patience. Whatever it is you're searching for, it's available to you through these ups and downs. Anything you want to learn about yourself, cultivate within yourself, or nurture in yourself is there. And so much of who we are and our personality and what we put out into the world is shaped by these ups and downs in life. And now we don't truly ever know what someone else is going through. We all have different levels of duality in our life, these ups and downs. everybody is facing different circumstances, and that's why everybody is so unique in their own being, because they have shaped a lot of who they are through life. And the sooner you accept that that's just what life is, it's actually just what life is. It makes up the whole of life, ups and downs, and learning to be present with all of it. You learn lessons in your down, and you feel gratitude should be always. This is the key. Feeling gratitude for all of the emotions. You're here for a human experience. You got onto this earth and you're in your beautiful body and you're having a human experience, which means that you're supposed to be feeling all of it. Imagine if you would only feel one of it, one of the emotions that come with being a human. And it's actually such a beautiful part of life to feel everything, even when that feeling is pain. And in that moment, it won't feel like that. In that moment, it will feel like the end of the world. But when you get out of that feeling, because this is the key with cycles, it always passes. The good, the bad, the in-between, doesn't matter where you are, it always passes. You're never going to be stuck in one part of the cycle. However, your mind is the key here. This is your tool. Your mind is so accustomed to narrating a story that sometimes we just move so far away from reality. You can, through your mind, be stuck somewhere. You can be stuck in a reality that you tell yourself, but in essence, in the reality, we are always going through ups and downs. But so many people listen to the story that they're telling about their lives, and they won't even notice when things are good. They will focus so much on what's wrong in their life. And again, like the example I used earlier, if you're looking for a red car, you will see a red car. If you are looking for the bad in your life, you will find it. And I promise you, you'll find it in every instance. You will have a way to make everything negative. And I think it's so important to realize that that's a mindset shift. And finding this neutral mindset towards ups and downs in life is key. Cultivating gratitude, understanding that it's just how life formulates. It's up and it's down and it's everything in between. The factor that you can control, because those things are out of our control. What happens in life, if it's not a direct consequence of your actions, it's out of your control. What you can control is yourself. And you can start to build a beautiful mindset, and you can build a beautiful life just through what you're thinking and the actions that align with that. If your actions are aligning with it, and you're cultivating, for example, nervous system regulation, you are going to bring about a very peaceful body. And that's going to allow you to face any ups or downs, especially the downs, with a found of confidence. You will be able to stand and weather that storm. And I think that's what we ultimately need to accept in this life, is that a lot of things are out of our control, but a lot of things are also within our control, especially when it comes to ourselves. And so often we will follow along the example that we've been taught and what's been programmed, and whether that's our parents or friends or society or what we see in media. But ultimately, it's up to you, how you choose to view your life. And accepting that these ups and downs are part of it is a huge, huge shift. And the second thing that really hits home for me, and that I've been investigating, is this idea that we are here, honestly, for a glimpse, a tiny little speck of light, and we're here and then we're gone. And I know that people feel uncomfortable speaking about death and the cycle of living and dying, but it's another cycle, as natural as nature is, that is part of our life. And so often I wouldn't want to look at that. Our society hasn't primed us or conditioned us to accept that dying is part of life. And so a lot of us feel uncomfortable around the subject. But if you start looking at it in a different way and realizing that you could be thinking about what everybody thinks, but how sad is it that so many of us would rather sacrifice our entire living existence, and it's over so quickly, to people please and to not be judged or seen or heard in a way that we don't want to have that. And I think that so many of us put our dreams and our hopes at bay because of what we think people will think about us. And I want to remind you that with the cycle of life, and this might come across harsh, but one day you will be gone. Everybody that you know will be gone. Let's say 100, 200 years from now, everybody will be gone. All your material possessions will be gone. People will probably forget entirely about who you are. And although people can take that as a daunting thing, that excites me. To be honest, it makes me really realize how little value what other people think is. When you realize that the cycle of life is fully yours. For the longest time, I've been wanting to do this form of sharing for the longest time, podcast, YouTube, for a really long time. And the biggest thing that was in my head and in my heart was, what will people think? What will the people think around me? The people that I know, the people that I don't know. And I came across a video that really, really, from that moment, changed my mindset. And this creator said, nobody cares. And I was like, okay, yeah, I've heard that before. But he explained it in a way. He said, nobody cares. Even your friends and family, if they are watching something that you're doing, or maybe you opened a business or you've quit your job and you're doing something else, nobody really cares. Yes, they might be happy for you if you start a new business or start a podcast. Maybe they support you. Maybe they don't support you. It can vary. But at the end of the day, they don't care that much because they are focused on their lives. As you are consumed with yours, so is everybody else. Maybe they have one or two thoughts about what you're doing, but they pass in milliseconds. Nobody is going to be as involved in your life as you are. And the other group of people that don't care is the people who don't know you. The people who find your content or walk into your shop or business or whatever it may be, they also don't care. They may be grateful that you're providing something of value, for sure, but they, again, are also focused on their life. So with that knowledge, I urge you to just reflect. Where in your life are you holding yourself back? I was holding myself back by not starting this sooner because I was thinking about everybody else's opinion. And if I had run that program and if I had kept to it, I would never be sitting here right now. And it's with immense joy that I get to share this. And it's something so deep in me. And not everybody wants to share like this. Some people have other hopes and dreams. The point is that you are the dictator of your life and you are in full control. You should embrace the cycles of life. Embrace them in the sense of knowing that one day your cycle will end. What do you want to have done? What is it that you wanted to live for? We all have ingrained in us what we want to do on this earth, our purpose. And I honestly, speaking to more and more people, realize how deep of a connection loss we have with what our purpose is. And that comes with too much outside external noise. We don't go inward. We don't find what brings us joy and gives us light and makes us feel happy. And it takes cultivating a relationship with yourself and realizing that you have this existence and you have this beautiful, beautiful time on earth. And fine, if you want to focus on everybody else and the fact that, the cycle will end, that's a mindset choice. You can, however, focus on how extremely freeing it is that nobody really cares. It is so freeing to know that I can do anything that I want. And although people may pass a thought or two, ultimately they don't care. The only person who should care is you. And the only person's opinion that you should be worried about when it comes to your life, your actions, how you want to live your life is yours. You are in full control and you can change your reality at any time. Of course, this doesn't mean there aren't consequences. Your life will shift. You may even have to grieve your old life and move away from it. But ultimately, it's such a good feeling. It's honestly the best feeling to step into what you know is in alignment with yourself. But finding that alignment with yourself takes being connected to yourself. And that means being in a calm body. And this is why I love to speak about this, because you can see the cycle that this whole podcast is on. We need to be able to feel safe in our bodies. When we're feeling safe in our bodies, we can be with ourselves. If we can be with ourselves, we can self-explore, we can feel, and we can heal. And this is the whole point. And I really hope that instead of looking at the cycles of life in a timid way or scared way, start looking at it in the way that I do. And that is that we have all of this beauty in front of us. Our life is an open book, open canvas, and it doesn't matter what has happened before this moment. It really only matters what you do from here. Don't delay it. Don't pause and go off on your normal everyday life as you normally do. Take a moment for yourself. Find that time with yourself. And I know that a lot of us don't really nurture the relationship with ourselves, but a lot of us are starting to. And that's the point. Start becoming self-aware, mindfully moving in the direction that you want to be going. It doesn't matter how slow you're going, it's about the direction. And I really, I encourage you to do what makes you happy or even just brings you peace, because living a life and living a full cycle of never really tapping into what it is you truly want to do just because of worrying and fear of what others may think is right or wrong, you'll never feel the freedom that you are supposed to feel and that you're entitled to as a human having a human experience. Don't forget, the light that you're constantly seeking outside of yourself is waiting to be acknowledged within. Thank you so much for being here for this episode. I hope you have an amazing day, and I'll see you next week.